To Around South Sudan, you go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics. To stay informed and engaged, tune into Around South Sudan and be part of the conversation that matters. Subscribe now and join us for the stories that connect us all. Together, let's explore the heart of South Sudan. Welcome to Around South Sudan. You go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics. To stay informed and engaged, tune into Around South Sudan and be part of the conversation that matters. Subscribe now and join us for the stories that connect us all. Together, let's explore the heart of South Sudan. Welcome to Around South Sudan. You go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics. To stay informed and engaged, tune into Around South Sudan and be part of the conversation that matters. Subscribe now and join us for the stories that connect us all. Together. Hello, welcome to another episode of Around South Sudan, a podcast where we dissect the most pressing issues with the people who are having a lot of insight into the peace process. I'm your host, Lasuba Memo. Today we are tackling the state of the 2018 revitalized peace agreement, an accord that once offered South Sudanese a hopeful path toward peace, stability and democratic transition. But now the path appears to be crumbling, if you agree or do not. But let's look at this. This week, international observers like the United Kingdom, Norway, and the United Nations issued a stark warnings calling the peace process reversed, citing unilateral decision, renewed fighting, the suspension of opposition leaders. Meanwhile, representatives from other opposition, for instance, the former political detainees, have raised concerns about violations to do with the power sharing as stipulated in the 2018 peace agreement. But the government has expressed commitment to full implementation of the agreement as planned, citing ongoing integration of the unified forces and also plans to ensure this is complete and ongoing elections preparedness. Now, to unpack all this, I am joined by three prominent voices who are activists and also closely involved in the implementation of the peace process. You can see on my right is actually Akwach Ajang, who is the chairperson of South Sudan Civil Society Alliance and is also a member of RJMEC, the revitalized Joint Monitoring Commission that is overseeing the implementation of the peace agreement. And next to him, of course, is Maria Gideon Gatmar, who is the deputy chairperson of Women's Bloc of South Sudan as a member of RJMEC. And right to my face is Florence Agiba, who is the secretary for planning and research at the South Sudan National Youth Union. She's having a seat also at RJMEC. It's my pleasure hosting all of you today.
Thank you for having us.
Now, this conversation comes days after RJMEC held an extraordinary meeting which brought together parties to the agreement. And of course, during the plenary, meeting, representatives of the political parties had the opportunity to speak out about the implementation of the peace agreement. And there were a lot of reactions during the meeting with regards to the statement of RJMEC. And there were also points of disagreements in some of the statements that are made among the parties. And what we are yet to see is actually a joint communique that will have these signatures of the parties, including you, members of RJMEC. And this is very critical because people want to see what next after that. And in the meantime, let's have a reflection of how the meeting itself went. But before that, I just want you to give an overview assessment of the status of the peace agreement in lieu of the remarks that were made. Let me start with you. Some people are saying the peace agreement is dead, others say it is collapsed, others say it is near to collapse. So we are so, I mean, the public is confused. What is it exactly? Where are we? Or where have we gone wrong? So let me start with you, Akwaj.
Well, thank you very much indeed. As you just mentioned, I'm also a signatory to the peace agreement, apart from being the chairperson of South Sudan Civil Society Alliance and member of RJMEC since 2015. This revitalized peace agreement gave hope when it was signed on September 12, 2018 in Addis Ababa. We felt that this peace agreement will silence guns, will bring peace and stability, and the people of South Sudan will enjoy peace dividends. It was a hope from any leader from civil society to the parties to the peace agreement to the civil population that here we are going to have a peaceful nation. Nevertheless, that's not the case. It is true that the current peace agreement has been violated. The peace agreement is not dead, but we are in deadlock. This is a reality. The road is not smooth. There are several violations that has been done by the parties to the peace agreement. And this violation has actually taken us back, we can say 90% of what we have achieved for the last 6 years has been taken back. It is true that after the formation of the government, we have seen that the parties were working together to implement the peace agreement. But on March 7, when we saw the incident of Nasser, it has actually taken everything back to square one. And this is a reality. This is a reality that we should not shy away. As a signatory, as a member of RJMEC, I felt that the parties to the peace agreement, they have a huge mistrust among themselves, and they have not shown the leadership to work together for this country to make sure that this peace agreement is being implemented in letter and spirit. We have seen in some chapters, when it comes to formation of the government, they ran in very fast, quickly, and they formed the government of national unity, and later the state and local government. Simply, it favors the leaders of political parties that are signatory to the peace agreement. And who are they? We all know them. Who are they? They are all in the government. And of course, it is very unfortunate that today, and I want any South Sudanese who is listening, whether you are a leader of this country, or you are a farmer, or you are somebody just in the market, we believe, we in Civil Society Alliance, we believe that the leaders are the one enjoying the peace dividend. Simply because I just mentioned something very important, that they rushed into the government, they divided the position among themselves, and they continue to enjoy the privileges of the government: free house, free vehicle, free fuel, and free bodyguards. And what happened to the rest of us? What happened to a woman that's making tea? That's what happened to other people who are in the farm. What happened to other civil population? Who is taking care of them? So we feel that these leaders, instead of focusing on delivering services to the people of South Sudan, they came together and agreed to divide position among themselves and focus on how to divide both powers, political power and economic power. And I believe, and this is my opinion, I believe the current crisis that we have in this country are power struggling and economic power struggling as well. Let me mention, we have crisis in this country because of the following struggling. Leaders are working hard to make sure that they own political power, they own economic power, because by owning political power, you will be controlling everything around you. Also, economic power, you will have resources. Even if people were to go to election tomorrow, you will be able to campaign because you have resources. But should you lose two of them, I don't believe it will be possible for you to survive a current political situation in the country. Again, we believe should the parties come together, work together, we can achieve peace. For the last meeting that I have attended as a member of RJMEC, we in civil society and the stakeholders in general, we have a feel for ceasefire because currently there's a fighting going on in the country. And we want to silence guns in the Republic of South Sudan. So ceasefire, number one. We have a feel also for dialogue because you cannot dialogue when people are fighting. So some people are calling for reconciliation and healing. You cannot do reconciliation and people are still fighting. So we said, let us have ceasefire, let us have dialogue. And by the way, when we talk about dialogue as stakeholders, people believe that we are just talking to the current leaders who are in the government. No. We are calling the entire people of South Sudan. We mean inclusive dialogue. Inclusive dialogue means the civilians, the political parties, those who are in the government and out of the government, and above all this, the whole our group, including the rebel. So our appeal as stakeholders to the peace agreement, as a leader of Civil Society Alliance, my appeal to the government, to the opposition, to the parties to the peace agreement is
we'll look at that.
Let us accept dialogues. This is our appeal. Right. And that has been our center of discussion. On regard to what other international community or regional community concerns, those concerns are in the place because we have a man-made problems in the country. We have crises that were made by the people of South Sudan themselves. So what international community was doing is to remind the people of South Sudan, is to remind the leaders of South Sudan, yes, you have a country in front of you, and these problems that you have, they are in your reach. Should you come together, should you accept dialogue, you can be assisted, you can be helped to achieve the peace that people of South Sudan want. Right.
We'll come back to you. Thank you so much, Maulana Akwach. And let me come to you, Maria. What has been your observations with regard to the peace process?
Thank you very much, iRadio. My observation as a mother and woman of South Sudan, my observation, we suffered a lot. That is why we joined the negotiation as a woman of South Sudan. And we signed agreement with our son and husband together. Because this country is ours. We don't have anywhere to go. That is why we joined them in Addis Ababa, and then we lobby and we advocate to our people. That is why they gave us the bloc. Bloc is the group of, is a coalition of the women of organization.
Okay.
That is why we join them to talk with them, because fighting will not give us anything.
Correct.
It will destroy our country. It will destroy the human resources. Like now, we mothers, we are the most people who are vulnerable, and are the one who suffering during the war. When the war broke out, the mother and children ran, and the men joined the war. But we remain in suffering. We die with the diseases and hunger. Our observation, we want our people to look into this country as theirs. It is not belong to anybody, but it is belong to us. God was not wrong to bring us in this country, South Sudan. That is why we fought. Women and men fought, youth fought, girls, youth, boys and girls, they fought to have this country. But now when we return back to fight, to have a dispute among us, we want our people to go for dialogue. You see, when you differ, 2 or 3 of you will come and sit and look back what was happened before. Because we fought, we got our country, and then we got our country through election. 64 tribe, not one tribe. We women of South Sudan, we are calling to our son and husband to come back and make dialogue. As my son put it now, we suffered a lot. And we are there in RJMEC. RJMEC is like a council of ministers. We used to come and sit as a boys or voiceless. And we talk with our parties, the signatories to agreement. We are signatories to agreement, and they are signatories to agreement. And they are the parties who are fighting. And they are the one trust themselves to have this peace agreement. When they trust themselves, they sit and brought this peace agreement. And then they want to make it to be collapsed. We will not accept that. Now this peace agreement is alive, it's not collapsed. That is why RJMEC citizens sit monthly, plenary. And we used to sit with them together and talk. Because when you have a problem, you will not sit and say that things will solve themselves alone. We identify ourselves, the youth, the civil society, the woman, to come and sit with signatories. All in all, they are signatories and they are the government. Because they came together, they trust themselves and brought this agreement and sit together and then distribute the power among themselves. Now it is lack of trust. Even they are fearing for themselves. They were as Fialam, my husband and me. We joined the bush while I was very young. I didn't enjoy my husband because my husband told me he was a member of parliament. He said that let us go to fight and get the country. When we achieve the goal, we will be in good condition. In the country where the peaceful country with the education, with everything, because we have many resources.
Correct.
After that, when we achieve the goal, for 10 years, we return back to war among ourselves. It lose our hope, but now we are continuing to talk with them. We pray to God, we women of South Sudan, to let us join the peace agreement. That is why you saw women blog, women coalition, women in civil society and youth. We are there to talk with them because they are the same like us. But nothing brought us to fight. If there is something among us, we should have to sit like now we are sitting and talk.
Correct.
After that, we will solve our problem. My observation is to let people come together and dialogue. As we civil society, when we sit for 2 days, on date 9 to date 10 September, we make our communique. That is why we read it in RJMEC. We want them to come together.
Right.
Because now they are the government and they are the parties in agreement.
Correct.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Thank you. Let me also hear of a youth perspective.
Yes,
The youth are often blamed for even participating in the violence. Majority of those who are carrying arms are youth, and you are there representing them at RJMEC. So Okay, give us your perspective as someone who represents youth there. What is it that you have learned, or what is it that you've raised as a member representing youth? So what are those concerns surrounding the implementation of the peace agreement from the youth eye?
Thank you so much. I would like to say this question is actually very tricky, because it is not us that would say that the agreement is dead, There's somebody who is supposed to do that, and not us. But this agreement is the reason as to why we still have some peace in this country.
Yes.
And that is something we all need to agree to. Because if we just stand up and say it is dead, Kalas, we would have caused real chaos. Yes, so there is somebody specific to do that. And if I take you back to the axis, before the R axis, nobody said that it died, right? But when people saw that things were not going the way they had planned, they said, you know what, let's come back to the table, let's dialogue, and let us revitalize that agreement. And so that is why we have the R axis right now. And as my colleague put it, there's so much violations going on, And for me, on the angle of the youth, I find it very tricky. You see, in the R axis, in chapter 1, the youth requested for a minister to be around below the age of 40. The first minister that we were given, we felt like he's not doing what we expected of him. So when the president relieved him and put another minister, we saw that minister focusing on so much of sports and not youth. And we still had problems. So the one that we have right now, we love how she's coordinating with us. So how do we stand up and say we want a youth when the ones that were there previously were not serving us? It's a very tricky situation. But what is important for us is to have somebody who actually cares on the issues of the youth, and somebody who can actually help to resolve these issues. You see, in the R axis, there are two documents there: the Student Support Fund and the Women. There is Women Development Enterprise Fund, and then there is that for the youth. All these documents, if we say the R axis is dead, and how do we feel as young people that opportunities are going to be blocked by one mere statement? We cannot accept that to happen. A number of young people are having a lot of issues with unemployment today. A lot of them are dying. My biggest concern is the generational loss. They are dying because they are niggers. There are new gang groups out there. There's Toronto, and this is all because of the economy, as you had stated earlier on. This economy is not favoring us, you see. So we need that enterprise fund to be there, to give capital to the youth and to give capital to the women. So that if I miss the one for the youth, I don't miss the one for the women. Yes. So looking at the extraordinary meeting, honestly speaking, for me, I thought we were going to come and now discuss the ongoing issue. But I was surprised to hear that when something is ongoing in court, we cannot raise it. But the topic of jurisdiction was a big issue for me. As people who are monitoring implementation of the agreement, we know that the agreement is superior. But when the court says something different and the RJMEC says, let's come and convene, for me, in my head, that is what I was thinking. But I came to the table and I saw we really needed to dialogue. The R axis that is there right now, a lot of people feel left out. It looks like it's only the parties or the signatories. But the people, the common people of South Sudan, they really don't see themselves anywhere there.
Right.
Yeah, so we really, really need that dialogue, and an inclusive one, as earlier stated. We need all South Sudanese to feel part of it. Yes.
To talk about the superiority of constitutional agreement, we leave it to the court to avoid
Yes.
contempt of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we got serious warning during the RJMEC meeting. yeah.
Exactly.
And so we got to be cautious about this. We leave to the party. You're recommending dialogue as
Yeah,
one of
it's
the
important.
remedies to address or resolve these issues. Now, let's get to the bottom of things, Maulana Akwach. You will wonder, you mentioned about mistrust among the political leaders, and you have also looked at two aspects as to why you see that the peace agreement is not going smoothly, because they focused on positions, and because they want power, and two is actually they want to empower themselves economically. And these two things, you say, this is what is probably, could you say, is this why we are today, why the peace agreement is not being implemented? And the other question I wanted to ask, but to what extent are there differences among the politicians that, despite the calls that civil society, the women bloc, youth, and even international community have raised, they have not been able to sit and dialogue and resolve those issues? What is not happening?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, the current government that we have is called the Constituted Government of National Unity. It's a government of parties to the peace agreement. It's a government of the parties. It's not the government of the people of South Sudan. And this is very important, because we don't have a social contract between the current government and the people of South Sudan. To have a social contract with the government, you have to vote for that person to be in that position. We have only voted for our President Salva Kiir Mayardit, and our members of parliament and governors in 2010. And we're supposed to have an election by 2015. But remember, the war broke out in 2013, and therefore, it was not possible. So the legitimate government and legitimate parliament extended the life of the government for 3 more years before the signing of the peace agreement in 2015. The peace agreement was reached in 2015 and did not last that much, because war erupted again in 2016. And then we have called for cessation of hostilities, we have called for the peace agreement, we have called for dialogue. As a result, in 2018 we have signed and we have the current peace agreement. But remember, it was signed by the parties. This peace agreement was signed by the parties to the conflict. We, who are sitting here, 3 of us, we are the stakeholders. Stakeholders, we represented our people, we represented the interests of the people. But if you read the agreement, it's supposed to be agreement for the reform. But what happened when all oppositions forces and the IT when they came together and formed the government, they only focus on how to share the position among themselves. And nobody focused on how to deliver services to the people of South Sudan. People of South Sudan, they are not after power. They are only after services delivery, roads, education, health, clean water. That's all we need, services.
Yeah.
As per your question, the peace agreement is not being implemented for a lot of reasons. Number one, the issue of political will. All these parties must have will to work together and implement the peace agreement. We have issue of funding. This peace agreement is not like the CPA that we had, where we had a conference to get funds, and resources were available to implement the CPA. But remember, only few countries help this country, this peace agreement to be implemented, in terms of support, whether financial support or support in kind. But resources is one of the challenges. That's why this peace agreement is not being implemented. Number three, as I mentioned earlier, mistrust among the leaders who have signed the peace agreement. They don't trust each other. They don't seem to work together. It has been 6 years. We are not seeing a chemistry. We are not seeing them coming together and work together for us. But instead, everyone wants to work for him or herself. I want to be a minister, I want to be MP, I want to be a general. And I mentioned in last meeting of RJMEC that we have more generals in the armed forces, more than the shops that we have in Kanya. And that's not healthy for our country. Above all, issue of managing resources. And I want to thank President Selpa. In 2019, the government availed resources to the committee that was in charge to implement the peace agreement. The committee was given resources to make sure that the free interim period is implemented by making cantonment, making training, and making a unified forces, because agreement talk about 8 months before we're supposed to form the government. All these forces, as per chapter 2, the forces of opposition and the forces of IT Gono, they are supposed to be trained and unified and put together to be one army. So what resources were available, but it was not implemented. So we have an issue of managing the resources properly. So it's one of the challenges. And I raised it in RJMEC, and those who are present, they have my record that yes, the government is paying a lot of money for the peace mechanism, but this money are not going properly. They are not utilized and managed properly.
Intended purpose.
They are my appeal and in that meeting and even now is that any money that will be available by the government or international community must be utilized and managed properly so that we can implement the peace agreement. One of the challenges. One of the challenges also is the guarantors. Sudan has a problem because Omar Bashir is not in contact anymore. He is out of the power. And Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir worked very hard to make sure that this peace agreement is signed. The other secretary is President of Uganda, Museveni, and is still there. The other guarantors, they are not doing enough. And finally, it is we, the citizens of South Sudan. I don't think we are pushing enough these leaders to work together. I don't think our voices are clear enough to what do we want them to do for this nation to survive and to be seen as a strong nation in the region. So there are several reasons why we are where we are. But as a members of RJMEC, we continue to monitor and evaluate the peace agreement, and our job is very simple. It is evaluate and monitor the implementation of the peace agreement. We make our recommendation to the IGAD, of course, through the chairperson. We also make our resolution, or even the minute that we had for the last meeting, will be read for next week. And we will send our report to the Council of Ministers. We'll send our report, of course, to the IGAD. Should need be, we will also address the AU and Security Council if there's a need. And that it is spelled out in the peace agreement. So I want to remind the people of South Sudan that RJMEC is not a police for this peace agreement. It is a mechanism that monitor and evaluate the performance of the peace agreement or the parties, and that apply to the citizen and other peace mechanisms. So the responsibility lies on the two pillars. Number one, the parties themselves, the one who have signed this peace agreement. These are number one people. Should they decide to work together, we will have a peaceful nation. We will have a country that is very peaceful and ready to be developed. The second fellow is a citizen of South Sudan. And this is very important. I asked a question in August 4th, 2018. I asked the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sudan, the Didi Mohammed Hamid. And I said, okay, what will happen should the foreign grantors fail to bring a pressure to the current, political parties to implement the peace agreement? And his answer was, the true grantors are the people of South Sudan. And I want to remind the people of South Sudan through this interview that, believe me, you are the true grantors to this peace agreement. And I want us to own this peace agreement, because I believe and I have hope that this peace agreement is still alive. We can still save our country. We can still come back together. But you must play your role. You engage your leader, whether a leader of parliaments or the executive. You need to talk to our leaders. They must work together. We must live in peace.
Thank you, thank you. You want to add something?
Yes, thank you very much. What I want to add to my leaders, they should have two things like our president. Our president is saying that he doesn't want to return a country back to the war. We want them to think for that, because our we citizens now, we are really suffering indeed. And we are saying enough is enough. Country is ours. As now, president knows what is going on in country. That is why I used to bring somebody to the position, tomorrow take him out, because he didn't fulfill the need of people. Our people should take calm and then wait for the call of the president for not taking country back to the war. Because if they just sitting there and make the rumors and then propagandas behind the country or behind the leaders, you see our youth, children, will follow us. Because youth are the backbone of the country. When we can't take the lead, we big people or the politician or the fathers or mothers, the children will follow. And then country will remain without anybody. Because now this peace agreement, if we implement this peace agreement, our country will be a peaceful country. But now even the dissemination of this peace agreement is still yet. Because people are saying that this agreement now we are saying is not collapsed, but when you go inside here, you will see the chapter is the previous days, even the article, you cannot see is implemented. That is why people are saying that it is collapsed, but it is not collapsed. We want dissemination of this agreement, because this agreement is now like a Bible to us. We want to take this one seriously, and then to tell our people to read the books. Because some leaders now, they don't know what is inside here. But we, as civil society and youth and women who were in negotiation room, we know what is inside here and need to be implemented. Also, what I want to
So
tell...
you're saying this agreement needs to be disseminated, so that
disseminated to people, to let the people know it.
right.
With the various languages.
Yeah,
Even RJMEC did it.
So what you're just saying is the same as what the members of the international community are emphasizing on, that the agreement remains the cornerstone for this country to achieve lasting peace.
Yeah.
But from your observations and the call that you're making, do you still believe there is that genuine commitment from all parties to uphold the spirit and letter of the agreement?
Yeah, that is why now we engage them. We want to engage them for dialogue. That is why we civil society, we used to talk all the time and knock their door and talk to them, to let them come together to engage themselves with this peace agreement. Because they are the one who wrote this peace agreement, and they are the Artigoni government, and they are the parties. They should have to take this one has to be implemented, not to write the agreement and leave it like that and do other things like this fighting. Our president now, that is why we thank him very much. He changed somebody and bring like Chief of General Staff. He talked to him. He tell him that there is insecurity. Even the Nasir crisis is still, and I want you to go and solve that problem. Even Abiy, there is another insecurity in Western Equatoria and other areas. That is why he's having hope for this country to let our people be calm and then implement this peace agreement. And we are saying, we women of South Sudan, enough is enough. We die. And even women now, they are not bearing many children. If you see a girl married, nothing, you will not get a children. Even our children kill themselves. Orphan now, they are the one fighting now and kill themselves, and their fathers was martyred. Look at it. They disabled. Their children, they are the one fighting. The children remain an orphan. Widows and orphan and disabled. Which country will be like this? Right. Enough is enough, and we want peace to our country. Peace will come with us. If we are not for peace, peace will not come. Because we want peace to be in our heart. If we say God Almighty bring peace, no. God will not bring peace to you, but your heart. Just you let us change our heart and sit together as a people of South Sudan, one people, one nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think, just to add on what the previous speakers were saying, I mean, everybody wants peace for South Sudan. We, the South Sudanese, we want peace. The guarantors, they want peace. The international community, they want peace. Everyone wants to see peace in South Sudan. But I think us as South Sudanese, we are taking it as something very strange, you know. At the end of the day, the people we are dealing with are our relatives, our fathers, our brothers, our uncles. So I think we are not just playing our role, and we are sitting down and expecting these mechanisms to do the roles. RJMEC kedamulu, citizen kedamulu, munumunu kedamulu, you know. NCRC, where are you? What have you done? You know. We are sitting down and we want to start holding people accountable. We are not doing our part as South Sudanese. And honestly speaking, from the perspective of the youth, I don't believe a lot of youth know what is in that document. You know. And in my capacity, I have tried my best to reach out to different partners to help me so that we can engage the youth, because this is a huge population. We're talking about approximately 70%, and they don't know what is in that document. So how then do they play their role, you know? So I agree with the previous speakers that it is time we take this piece as our own initiative. We start talking to our own people, you know, our own leaders. If I feel that I cannot access some of these people, I can access some of the relatives that are close by. Send messages, you know, and I'm sure those messages will reach there. So I think as South Sudanese, we're taking it like it's something very far from us, but we're supposed to now come close to it. I think that is what I can add.
And Akwash, I wonder what you say about the concerns raised about political detainees. And you were calling for dialogue. and some of them are key partners in the peace agreement. And for dialogue to take place, their presence is needed. And we've heard from, for instance, the army saying or blaming some of the conflicts to what is going on currently. And so what needs to be done to break that, that kind of stalemate?
Well, our position is clear. As stakeholders to the peace agreement, our position is clear in our communique on the 7th to 9th, if I may recall. We have said all political detainees must be released or taken to the court of law. So I must appeal to the government, as I'm speaking live from iRadio. My appeal as a leader of civil society, as stakeholder and signatory to the peace agreement, I'm appealing to the government of national unity that for us to have a union dialogue, all political detainees must be released or taken to the court. I'm not asking government to suspend anything to do with court, because the due process has to take place. But I'm talking about other political detainees who are in the prisons, who are not taken to the court. I don't know why only people take it like the only political detainee is Riek Machar. Dr. Riek, yes, he's a politician, he's the first vice president of the republic. He was detained in a house arrest. But believe me, there are other political detainees who are in their house arrest. They are still in detention, and they are not taken to court of law. These are the people we are appealing for, regardless of mentioning names. So we are clear on our communique that you release that person or take that person to the court of law, because in court you are presumed to be innocent until found guilty. So in court, whatever went to the court, it would be decided by the court. It's not our decision, nor is government decision, and judiciary is an independent branch of the government. So I don't think executive can have a say in anything before judiciary. So what we have been appealing are those who are not taken to the court, and that's very clear. When we talk about dialogue, we are talking about inclusive dialogue. Dialogue that will bring all South Sudanese together, especially the whole out group, the rebel, and the government, to bring them together. This is the dialogue we are talking. And of course, people may recall the national dialogue that we had, and people are still asking what happened to resolution of national dialogue? Why are we not implementing those resolutions? You know what? This is the time. I'm calling to revive a national dialogue. A national dialogue that will bring a whole out group, that will bring rebel together with the government and the citizen, and discuss the matters of this nation on how to make a peaceful and strong nation in the entire world.
All right. And maybe you'll answer this one question, Maria and Ajiba. Being actually stakeholders or representatives at RJMEC, what is your observation with the participation of the international community? And do you think that really the international community is doing enough? What would a stronger, more meaningful engagement look like now from IGAD, AU, and UN?
Yeah, thank you very much. I read your one again. You see, the IGAD and international community is not new to us. Since the SPLA war, they are the one engage people of South Sudan with the peace agreement. As you know, CPA. Even those who were in the CPA, like General Simboyo, Mama Pelista, and others, they were there, and they were the one engage us until we achieved the CPA. Even implementation of peace agreement, the CPA, it was not finished. But for them, we will not put what they are doing as will solve our problem. Because we are the one who fight, and we are the one who can solve our problem, and they will support us. If there is the area which is not covered by us, and then they will come as somebody come and stop us from what we are doing. But if we leave them to do it, because they don't know who is the guilty and who is the one did that. But for them, it is good for them to come and support us with that peace agreement.
They often say it is you South Sudanese to decide.
Yeah, to decide it for themselves. Because we South Sudanese, we know what was happened to us, and we know what we will do. But them, they will come and support us.
Correct.
Nothing country without supporting by the international community. We are not telling them that they are bad people, because they were with us for CPA. And now we want them to engage our leaders, because we citizens of South Sudan, we are really suffering. We hope that they will finish the peace agreement, this fighting, but when we see them, they will say that we are coming to monitor. When we ask the question, they say, no, we are coming to monitor peace agreement. But upper hand is for you. You are the one who will complete the rest.
Right.
It is there.
So what's your take, Ajiba? Thank you so much.
I mean, it's the same thing, you see. I remember before we had that whole thing of extension, there was a whole conversation because we wanted to know from the government. You say you want extension, and the reason as to why you're not implementing some of these things in the agreement is because there's no funding. So how do you assure us that there will be money for the implementation if we give you the extension? And so remember Dr. Martin, Honorable Dr. Martin Elia Lomoro, he said that the government will start raising funds and international community will come to support. So us always putting our expectations outside instead of inside is what is killing us. So we need to now start focusing on how us Junubin we can contribute to the peace. And if it gets to that point, because as we're speaking right now, the people in the NCRC done for the constitution review, they're bringing up ideas that as South Sudanese, let us start funding our own processes. It as a Junubi, you want us to have a permanent constitution? Yes. Now let us start contributing our own monies from our pockets to see to it that this process can be completed in the time that it's supposed to be. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants to see elections. And how do we get there? Every time when we're expecting international community, even them, they feel they're tired. They keep putting in money and they're not seeing the results they want to see. So at what point are we as Junubin going to take up this peace process for ourselves, and take it and take the ownership? If government is saying we want to start seeing them doing their part, and we want citizens to also take their part. The country is ours. It's not for international community.
Yes.
So, what is your take?
Well, on this matter, they are right, by the way. The issue is not in the hand of the international community. It is within our reach as the people of South Sudan. And I always believe that the current crisis, these are man-made crises. They are crises that were made by the people of South Sudan, and they can solve them. All we need is to be assisted, and international community has been there, whether you talk about Juba Conference 1947, whether you talk about Addis Ababa 1972, whether during the CPA 2005. And by the way, South Sudan did not just come from the blue. We became independent because we were assisted by other countries. And of course, the Anyanya one from August 18, 1955 to 72 were assisted, and the Sudan Council of Churches played a very positive role to make sure that South Sudanese voices are heard in the region and even in the international community. As a result, we were able to get Addis Ababa agreement. We were assisted by the region and by international community. The CPA, of course, from SPLM, SPLA, from 1983 to 2005, we were assisted by a lot of countries from the region here, from international community. I just don't want to mention the name of the countries.
Yeah.
But we all know, we the South Sudanese, we know those countries who have helped us strongly so that we can achieve the independence of this country. So the issue is not about who is willing to help the people of South Sudan. The issue is, are we really taking responsibility to work for our country, to establish a nation, to develop a nation, to create a nation? This is the problem. So the problem is that we must come together, dialogues, and it is very important because dialogue always is the solution to conflict. The war always ends with dialogue. You have seen in Gaza, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Palestinian leadership and Israel leadership and the President of the United States for having arrived at an agreement to stop the bleeding, to stop the war in Gaza. And that was very important. And I thank President Trump for leadership. And now, tonight, the agreement will be effective, will be in effect.
The Gazans have started going
tonight.
back to their homes.
And I'm sure on Sunday, they will do the ceremony in Egypt. President Trump will come to Egypt and agreement will be signed. And of course, we will save a lot of life in Gaza. And look, for the last 2 years, the entire world has been actually monitoring and the fighting and the war in a very bad manner, what we have observed in Gaza. But of course, I just want to bring to your attention and to the listeners that war, that violence, end with dialogue. The agreement has been reached in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh, and now there's going to be peace in Gaza because there's the dialogue that was taken. I also want to appeal to our leaders. You see, the problem of South Sudan, some of us made some research. The problem is that our government doesn't listen to an armed citizen. If they were to listen to an armed citizen, to listen to their voices, to their concern, to their needs, people will sit and dialogue for those matters and resolve them. But some individual, they will see that if nobody can listen to them, they will take arms so that their voices can be heard. And it is true that any single rebellion in this country, government will run after them and seek negotiation with them. And the question is, why should you wait until people take arms and then you go and ask for negotiation? I want our government to be serious, to negotiate, to dialogue, to discuss with the citizen and resolve everything in peaceful manner, rather than waiting for people to take arms and then you form a committee to go and dialogue with them and try peace agreement. We don't need more peace agreement. All we need is dialogue with the rebel, with the whole group, with our government. We need to dialogue among ourselves and look what is lacking. Why are we not progressing as a nation? What we went wrong? What can we do to come together? What's lacking? We need to sit and critically answer those questions. Should we answer those questions, we will arrive at having discussed what are the challenges that are facing us, what are way forward to resolve those challenges. I'm sure we will be able to sit down as people of South Sudan and establish a strong nation that we still have. And I want us to come together. And I'm appealing not only to the government, to our citizens, to the rebel, to the whole our group. I'm calling all of you to accept dialogue, to save our country. This country belongs to all of us. But believe me, violence is not a solution. We don't believe in violence, because violence destroys life and properties. War destroys life and properties. We want to save life. We want to save our properties. So the way forward for our government, for civil population, to the rebels, to the whole our groups in this country, is for us to sit down and address our differences. What do we need to rule this country in a proper manner, in terms of good governance, in terms of making a good constitution for our country, in terms of what we need to do to achieve the democratic, fair, and peaceful election for our country. Because remember, this government is supposed to prepare our people for an election. Because the end of this game, the end of this implementation of this current peace agreement is to have an election. And for us to have an election, of course it is mentioned that we must have good security in the country, we must have census, we must have constitution, and all this. And I agree also there are other views from experts that if this country was ready for the election, we can review the current constitution. I don't see anything wrong with the current constitution. It can be reviewed and make amendment. We can make some amendment in this current constitution to review, for example, how many vice presidents do we want for this country? Do we need only a president, or do we need a vice president? Do we need one or two? We look at the number of ministers, how many ministers we want. We look at the type of federalism. What kind of federalism that we want? One of Ethiopia, one of America. You select which one do you want. Which one fit the people of South Sudan? Our norms, our culture. Which one is good for us? These are things we can do, but you know what? Sometimes I'm not even competent to say that we need, let's say, a permanent constitution. Because there's no constitution that is permanent. Any constitution is subject for amendment because our life changed. So any constitution we can write today, it can be amended by next year, by 10 years, by 100 years from now. So I want our people also to understand that there's nothing called permanent constitution. Any constitution is subject for an amendment based on our need. Let me give you an example. The U.S. Constitution, the 19th Amendment, was amended because when the U.S. Constitution was passed, women were not given a right to vote. When the election used to take place, women were not allowed to vote, by the way.
And the blacks were also not.
Also, of course. But that amendment that was done in 1919, and it's called 19th Amendment, was specifically done to allow women of the United States of America to vote. Look at our Constitution. We started right, by the way. We started in 2005 by giving the women of Sudan 25% in power sharing. Not only voting. Women were given a right to vote and also given a right to govern by giving them 25% of power sharing. When we came to the current, when we come to the current peace agreement, women are given 35% in power sharing. So in our cabinet, we're supposed to have 35% women. In assembly, we're supposed to have 35%. In the current cabinet, we're supposed to have 35% in the 10 governors. In the 10 governors, and 3 administrative areas. So I believe we have a beautiful constitution that needs to be reviewed and amended.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, it belongs to the people of South Sudan.
That needs dialogue.
Our advice, our position as civil society is that we must dialogue, and of course, dialogue is the way forward.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe the last message is you keep all of you saying that it is us, the citizens, that need to push for this. And what can the citizen, ordinary citizens, do exactly to hold the leaders accountable and demand a return to the peace path? As you send your message, we only have 5 minutes. Let me start with you.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, as citizens, we have a lot of roles we play. As I had said earlier on, most of these people are like relatives to us, so it is easy for us to reach out to them than expecting other people from out to come and talk to them. But also, I would wish that conversations start changing in this country. Let's start talking about how we always sit to make an extension, but for us to have elections moving forward, we need to start delinking some of these conditions that are going to push us to the elections. For example, having a permanent constitution is one of the criteria before we can have the elections. But we can emulate the example of Kenya. The Kenyans took their time to actually develop their constitution. So we can revise the current constitution just to take us into elections, but we can take our time to develop a constitution that will really reflect the voices of the people of South Sudan. So those are the conversations we need to start having. Let us start planning on how elections will look like, because just singing that, oh, there will be elections in 2026 is not enough. Looking at all the preconditions that are there for us to have elections, we really don't see that happening. But when we start seeing conversations changing, then we know that truly it's going to be there. So for the people that are listening,
when you say conversation changing, what do you imply?
When I've already explained conversations changing, we need to see that intentionality, because I've already said just saying something is not enough.
Okay.
Do it. We need to start seeing things changing. We need to see the government putting money into some of these things, some of these remaining things that are priorities for us to have elections. Yeah, we need to see actions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Yes, Maria.
Thank you very much. Today's the National Constitution Review Commission as a civic education. They send the members to 4 states for civic education about the Constitution, to let people add their voice or to subtract what is in the Constitution. It is a very good move in the government to let people be engaged with the Constitution, because our people are tired. You see, when we went for national dialogue, they identify their need and what the root cause and whatsoever. We have many books now. But when we return back with civic education, they will bring the same things to the civic education. But now we want our people to be engaged with the dialogue. You see, about the peace. What is the benefit of peace, or what is the bed of war? To let us engage our people. You see, our people, they love their country. That is why you are seeing them. Even if there is a problem there, they don't have any problem. Like now, those politicians in the court, when they saw the road closed, they say, what is happened? Because we don't know what is happened, because they don't know. They want just to be surviving. Women going to the market to sell their goods, even those youth, they are engaging with other surviving life. You see, our people, they love their country, but don't want to tell them, let them be absent from the politician. Because politicians govern the country. Correct. But them, they are citizens, and they are the one bringing this politician. They are not a part, not out of a politician, but let them abstain Let them leave those who are working, and those who are just citizens in the villages, let them continue with their peace and what they are doing and cultivation, because we want our country to be a country of agriculture. Because now our food coming outside, everything, even this one mukshasha and morfaga or whatsoever, is coming from Uganda. But now we have it. Our country is very rich. We want to tell our people, just
people from outside making charcoal for us in our own country.
Charcoal kaman bijibutani min bara ina winde na charcoal. Ya nas del beju bakta wa shiyar bitana beju ba mulfaham. Kada ni kalu mashkala da unakulu beled bitana. Nakul min ma nazra unamul development liyal bitana. Ukuma na salulo ma fi road sika akuma malo. Kan ma fi madrasa ma fi mustashfiyat na sala kuma shana kuma dai yal bitana ma fi zolu su ma kuma wala fi ajuzu su ma kuma wala fi mara su ma kuma dan hina dai lo bigina mutalimin bigina fi sultat ya biga kuma lakini kuma beji min civilian ya hena our lead leader and our president Karen Salfakir, they are saying people are the water, are fish, they are the people who are working. If there is no water, you will die there, because citizens are the one who having the power.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let me come to you, Maulana.
What I would like to tell the listeners and the people of South Sudan is that we must be hopeful. We must put hope that this nation need our efforts, our thoughts, our energy, and we need to work together. And the only way for us to achieve dialogue is through, only way to achieve peace in this country is through dialogues. And people always question why civil society alliance always ask government for dialogue, ask citizens for dialogues, and they are not protesting, why there's no protest on the street. And the answer is very simple. We have learned from other nations, and we decided the best way to have this nation, to build this country to be strong, is for the citizen and the government to dialogue. We have learned from Iraq what the civil society and political parties done to Iraq. We have learned from Yemen what was the role of the civil society and political parties, and you can see the crisis that are in Yemen as we speak. We have also learned from Libya. Libya, they had a lot of issues, but what happened now? We have also learned from our neighbor Sudan. The civil society were very strong, they worked together with political parties, but unfortunately, the war broke out. It is true, we are not peaceful, we are not better than Sudan, we are not better than Libya, but I don't want us to be one of the worst compared to those countries. That's the reason we are saying the best way for us, the civil society, and the government and political parties is to work together to make sure that we have peace in this country. We must work for peace building. And working for peace building, I'm appealing to civil population to take responsibility. Talk to your leaders, talk to your MPs, talk to your ministers, talk to the generals that, you know what, we want peace. We don't want violence, we don't want war. Should we engage these people? Nobody will go to war.
Right.
And we will fight. No politician want to fight other politician, for example. They only fight when they see us supporting them. And we want to say, no, let us support peace, not the war. Let us support development, not looting. Let us support good governance, not embezzlement. Let us support justice. This is very important. And I'm sure when we come together and join our hands, we will build a strong nation. So I'm feeling, yes, it is true, by having a genuine dialogue, a dialogue that is coming from the grassroots to the nationals, with one agenda. The agenda is that we want to have peaceful South Sudan, a developed South Sudan, a strong nation. I think we will achieve. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Maulana Akwach Ajang Nyanom, who is the chairperson of South Sudan Civil Society Alliance and also a member of RJMEC, for the insight, by the way. Very interesting conversations and well thought out ideas. And of course, Maria Gideon Gatmar, thank you so much for taking your time and coming here, and your pleas to the government are very powerful, looking at the situation of mothers and children who are the most affected, those who are bearing the brunt of conflict that we currently experience in the country. It's really my pleasure having you. And of course, Florence Ajiba, Secretary for Planning and Research at the South Sudan National Youth Union, and giving us the youth perspective and youth eye has been really remarkable. I do appreciate your coming, taking your time to come for this conversation, and let's look forward to continue, as he said earlier, continue conversing and discuss these issues. And as you have also said earlier, that we really need to dialogue, and this is part of it, that conversation will bring people together. We look forward for another edition, and to you, of course, the listener who has stayed glued to the live streaming, that we have come to the end of this crucial conversation on the fate of South Sudan's peace agreement, and we have heard from those on the front lines of the process who are seated here, people who are not just watching history unfold but also shaping it. So from me to you, do have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Welcome to Around South Sudan. You go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building,